After independence, he became India's first representative to the United Nations Security Council and even served as the president for it during the tense Korean War sessions. Then, in 1952, he broke another ceiling, becoming India's first judge at the International Court of Justice at The Hague. A name that slips past most history books. A name many Indians have not heard as much. And yet it echoes quietly inside every ballet that is cast today, every courtroom verdict delivered, and every fundamental right we cherish today. Born in 1887 in Mangalore, Rao was brilliant from the start. He could quote Sanskrit scriptures and Roman legal codes with equal ease. That rare mind took him to Cambridge, and by 1910, he had entered the Indian Civil Service, one of the first Indians to break into its elite ranks. But Rao wasn't a bureaucrat chasing titles. He was a thinker, a reformer, a man who saw law not as red tape, but as a tool to shape a nation. For decades, he moved through India's colonial machinery, not blindly, but purposefully. He revised the entire Indian statutory code between 1935 and 1937. He served as the legal remembrancer in Assam and then as a High Court judge in Calcutta during the Second World War. He even acted as a Prime Minister of the princely state of Jammu and Kashmir for a brief but critical year just before the partition. But his true legacy, you ask? Well, that was yet to come. By 1946, India was on the edge of freedom. The British were leaving, a republic had to be built from scratch. And to do that, India needed a constitution. Not borrowed, not imposed, but one that would work for 300 million people across languages, faiths, castes, and cultures. The Constituent Assembly needed someone to draft the first version. Someone who understood India but had also seen the larger world outside. They turned to Benegal Narsing Rau. Rao didn't just sit in Delhi and start writing instantly. He traveled to the US, to the UK, Ireland, and Canada. He studied how democracies functioned. He met legal minds like Justice Felix Frankfurter, who warned him, don't just copy the American idea of due process. It might sound noble, but in India's overloaded system, it could break the courts before they even began. He listened and then he adapted. And then from October 1947 to February 1948, in just 5 months, Rao produced a full constitutional first draft. 243 articles, 13 schedules. Everything from fundamental rights to federal structure to the separation of powers. This wasn't just a cut and paste job. He studied constitutions from Ireland to Australia, from Germany to the US, and then reshaped them for the Indian soil. Well, for the Indian soul. Rao understood that India's unity would depend on giving states linguistic space. Those rights needed teeth. Those laws had to be clear because vague laws get twisted very fast. Armed with Rao's draft, the drafting committee, chaired by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, took over. They refined, debated, battled through every single line. But they never forgot where it all started. When the final constitution was adopted on 26 November 1949, Ambedkar himself stood before the assembly and said, "This credit that is given to me does not just belong to me. It belongs partly to Sir B.N. Rao, who had prepared the first draft." Even President Rajendra Prasad agreed. Rao had visualized the plan and laid the foundation. And yet, very few remember. After independence, he became India's first representative to the United Nations Security Council and even served as the president for it during the tense Korean War sessions. Then, in 1952, he broke another ceiling, becoming India's first judge at the International Court of Justice at The Hague, a rare appointment for anyone from the global south at that time. He was knighted in 1938. He was even quietly considered for the Secretary General to the United Nations. And still, he declined power. He turned down politics, turned away the spotlight. In 1953, in Zurich, Benegal Narsing Rau passed away. Without fanfare, no statues, no airports in his name, not even a public holiday. But you feel his presence. Every time a judge rules, every time a citizen casts a vote, every time someone says, I have rights. Because while Dr. Ambedkar refined the constitution, Rao had imagined it. He gave India a compass and then he walked away. So the next time you think of India's founding, remember, there were many kinds of freedom fighters. Some held protests, some held pens, and one of them, in quiet brilliance, wrote the skeleton of a nation. Well, that's it from me for this episode. For more such history tidbits, follow us here on Quiet Curiosities, and I'll be back next time with another episode.